All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel for another video. And in today's video, on such a nice day out right now, sunny, much warmer, we're getting into spring season. We're getting into car season. And what I mean by car season, whether you're an SUV or truck enthusiast that loves to go camping in the spring, you're making your way to the beach, the warmer climates, things are happening, the windows are down, the sunroof is open. Or on the other hand, like I have for both the best worlds, I have the Mustang. You're a car show guy, you're getting ready, you're out in Mexico doing a couple pulls here and there, your winter builds, it's now spring season. Or on the other hand, you're just a person that's kind of looking for a vehicle to get in, a new vehicle, you want to buy a used vehicle, affordable, something that could just be either a general commuter or one that you could build. I thought this would be good to kind of just go over a few things. But in particular, I know the 4Runner, not third gen so much, but obviously this is more oriented to a third gen, but just 4Runners and all. This is what this video is going to primarily be covering. Like I said, the 4Runner is a very popular vehicle, very popular SUV, popular platform, whether you're just driving it to have one as a general commuter or looking to build. And this is more for the people that are looking for something that's an older vehicle but still obtainable and affordable price. So I've talked about this 100 times. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that talk about the things to look out for. If you're gonna go buy a used 4Runner, the things that people hate about these or that I personally dislike, but at the same time you put up with, because in the years of when Toyota made this platform, from the Tacoma to all their vehicles from the 90s to the early 2000s, reliability definitely stuck behind their name. So we're going to go ahead and do something a little different, kind of the same but different in a way. A few things that somebody just wants as a general commuter or something that's getting into a build that doesn't want to spend a lot of money, they might hate. So when you're getting into a vehicle that's over 20 years old, you can tell that I've upgraded a few things here and there, cleaning up the batteries, the intake tube a little bit. I've added definitely a lot of stuff to this, but a lot of people don't want to get into someone's project or vehicle that they, maybe have done the basic maintenance, or let's just say neglected. They don't want to take care of it and dump money into something that isn't worth it. So when they're looking at a vehicle, they're very hesitant. So when you're looking at something like this, the 4Runner itself, you can see this valve cover, much shinier and newer looking, and this one has been weathered, it's faded, it's had its oil stains, it's had all kinds of stains. I could probably bring it back if I cleaned it or had somebody detail under the hood, but this is my general commuter and project car, if you want to put it that way. So I'm not going to worry about that. So what I actually had done was both gasket covers, the seals redone last year. So this is a common issue for the 4Runners, but this can be a common issue for a lot of vehicles depending on what platform they're going into. Some are known for leaks, some are not so much that you really have to worry about. But you don't want to get into someone's headache or issue or problem that they put a bunch of stop fluid leak and stuff like that, and they never spent the money or took the time to go ahead and just replace the valve cover gaskets and all that good stuff. They just try to do a temporary fix, and it just ruins something over time, and it can be a ticking time bomb if you buy it and then now you're out an engine and you're spending more money on that vehicle, or you just decide to just dump the vehicle and waste your money altogether. So that is something that somebody, I've seen that these are pretty easy to work on. The proper maintenance always done to it. If you don't want to work on it, at least have a shop that is dedicated. I would say more towards a Toyota instead of a general Firestone or something like that. I would go to a shop that is, like I said, dedicated to Lexus, Toyota, Honda, something along those lines of a basic import that knows what they're doing, because they're doing the basic, build at a Firestone. They're doing everything that just comes in. No one really cares. A smaller shop that's going to be oriented towards a specific brand or platforms that are just a couple, they're going to take their time more. They're going to know what they're looking for, and their technicians are going to be, I think, better well-versed or trained in something like this. So again, always look for your oil leaks, anything under the hood that looks suspicious, that looks trash, neglected, wiring, a lot of aftermarket stuff. People have light bars and stuff on these. The wiring jobs could be trash. It could be a nightmare. A lot of people just kind of, how this one is kind of bundled like this, there's no real way to kind of clean that up. You know, it's been sleeved a little bit right here and there, but that's also just to tie in from a lot of the stuff that I have here going on. But it's not a complete mess. It's all in kind of just one spot. There's not wires just sticking out, shoved here and there. You know, there's nothing hanging to where it could burn and catch fire on the headers or manifolds or whatever you want to call it. There's not like a bunch of fluid all over it. Just like this, kind of how the reason I cleaned up the battery terminals was to kind of just have everything protected, but look clean and not have to worry about what is what, where does this go. So that's something that a lot of people will look into and they hate right away. They don't want to, you know, put their money into it. So that is something that I would definitely look out for. Another example, kind of how this auxiliary aux beam box has everything connected as it should. I'm sure there's another way to make it look cleaner, but again, this is a daily driver. This is not a show car, so you make it look as clean as possible, at the same time functional without having any headaches. Now, I haven't seen a Toyota really that I've owned. I know Toyotas and just all vehicles that are older, that are neglected, the paint will start to fade. You can see right here how this is kind of sun faded a little bit. We're going to have this painted. That is the next step on the list besides the supercharger for it. Any vehicle like this, the paint, you know, it might hold up well. You can see the door handle's faded. The trim here is faded. So if you're going to be picky about paint and you're in a certain budget looking for something affordable, the 4Runner, I wouldn't really care about the paint, I guess, is what I'm saying. You're going to get the reliability out of that. So that is something else to look for. That leads into what I'm about to say, rust on these things. The frame is what it's known for, rusting. But some people just might hate the idea of seeing, you know, a bunch of paint neglected and stuff like that. And then once they get the vehicle, they're finding rust spots in the corners and stuff, and you can just punch it and there goes, you know, pretty much the vehicle itself. There's videos that I see all the time where rust is like right here, something like that, and then people take a hammer and just hit it real good, and you know, it takes out a body or the panel or the fender or whatever. But that is something else that I would look for. I don't want you to get stuck with something that's a rust bucket. So when it comes to the aftermarket side, a lot of people do wheel and tire setup combos. Now this goes for the 5th gen 4Runner that is on the channel and this one. I have noticed you might need like a wheel spacer. I think it's also like a hub ring that is included with these. It's not a big deal, but some people might hate the idea when you lift these or just add a bigger wheel and tire combo setup on it. When you're braking, it kind of slowing down the highway or something, the steering wheel tends to shake a little bit. Now that just might be to the set of wheels maybe that are on the vehicle. It seems to only happen when I've ever had a set of Method race wheels. I have 2 for this, the bronze and then the gray. The 5th gen 4Runner has a black set, so it has done it. Or it could just be the Toyota issue. I know Toyota has had the issue of where the rotors warp easier, something to do with the brake calipers, I believe. I don't know much into it, but that seems to be just like a common issue when you have a bigger wheel and tire combo setup with this. Now, it doesn't bother me whatsoever, but if you're going to be like bothered that much by a steering wheel shaking every time, and it, you know, doesn't happen every time, but I'd say 60% of the time, and you don't want to get used to it, that is something to look out for. Don't spend your money on it until you know. Or if you buy one of these, maybe stick with the factory wheels and just add bigger tires, since the factory wheel doesn't really probably have that issue. So when also going to buy one of these, the interior, now don't mind the mess. Some people might not like how the controls and everything is set up. I think it's fine. It is an older vehicle, obviously. I know that the earlier models on these had the cup holders right here, which got into the way of the climate control and the radio. So it would come out right here, and then it'd get in the way of the windshield wipers as well, which was kind of stupid. So I'm glad that they definitely made the cup holders right there. But some people might hate the setup. This is going to be a smaller, you know, not as roomy as a newer 4Runner or as big. I'm 6'2", about 215 to 220, athletic build. You know, tall for my size, I guess. But I have zero issue with any of this. I'm able to reach everything just fine. Nothing gets in my way. But that's something to keep in mind when you're in a vehicle. You know, you're not committed to buy it, but I would definitely check out the feel of the vehicle, How does it make you feel? If you're going to use the vehicle for long trips, do you like the setup? So an older setup someone might not like. Now, when getting into the aftermarket world with this, I would definitely look at lift kits, how the vehicle rides. Is the vehicle riding good enough? Do you have any issues with the vehicle? I always get like when people drive by, I don't know why. I think they just like think I'm broke down or something. Like, I drive a Toyota. Come on, bro. I don't know. No, getting into this, be careful, I guess I would say, buying aftermarket parts. The saying, pay once, cry once, that does definitely stick. It does definitely come in the territory of, spending something where the money has a great value to, great feedback to a part, instead of buying the cheap part because you want the look right away. And then you're like, oh, I'm just going to save up, buy it now, spend the money to have it installed, or just waste the time to install it. Then 6 months later, get the part, or when this breaks, then you double up on the money and buy the part that you were going to buy in the first place. So always just like, if you want a certain look or, ride quality, this is not going to be the best ride quality, especially with the lift kit itself, but it's a really good lift kit, and it's not like it's, a Honda on coilovers, let's put it that way. So it does the best of both worlds. It's, expensive. I paid a lot of money for this, but at the same time, you do sacrifice some stuff here and there. So that's something that, people might hate after getting into something like a platform. They see how much it costs to do the stuff that they actually had envisioned before putting the money into the vehicle. Then the vehicle sits, and the idea just kind of hits the stratosphere and nothing happens. They sell the vehicle, a project car just gets sold. It doesn't get used or whatever, and then you kind of wasted your time and your money. Or don't waste your money on crap parts. So those kind of go hand in hand with that. That makes sense. The last two things that I will say, fuel economy. These I usually get about 250, maybe 260 out of a full tank. It does kind of suck. It's a 15-gallon tank, I believe. So I've averaged, maybe 13 to 14. My scan tool or scan gauge or whatever tells me. But I do a lot of highway driving, so I probably get a little more. But you're not going to get a full use out of this, especially if you do everything that I've done, adding the weight, the lift kit and stuff. You're going to sacrifice gas mileage, but it is a great, reliable vehicle, and it'll get you there, but it'll get you to the gas station much quicker. And the last thing I will leave as a vehicle like this, I don't know how the Tacomas are. I don't know how the Sequoias are either, or the Tundras. I imagine they're a little faster than these. There's not a lot of horsepower or torque behind this 3.4 engine. Right around 180 horsepower, maybe 220 foot-pounds of torque on a good day, I will guess. And yes, the cliche answer that everyone always says in the Toyota community is to add a supercharger, which I actually am. Not for the speed, but more for because I'm a car enthusiast. So that's what I want to do. I want to keep modding vehicles. But if you're looking for something that has a lot of speed and torque, this is not it whatsoever. This is more of, like I said in the beginning of the video, the reliability sticks behind the name, and is definitely not known for, hey, this thing is definitely fast as hell. It's not. 300 horsepower would be nice in one of these, and it's probably what it should have had. It's probably what it deserves, basically. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, at least 250, but you got what you got. You got 180 something horsepower, and your foot is on the pedal, trying to merge the traffic. But if you throw an overdrive, it helps. So that's something that, I would look into. You can do a few basic mods to kind of help it add a little horsepower, maybe a cold air intake or something. But a cold air kit's really not going to do much. It's just going to help the vehicle maybe breathe a little better, maybe add a little more fuel economy. But at the same time, I would just stick with the factory air box. That's just my opinion. But yeah, so those are just some ideas and thoughts that I have on this 4Runner build itself. And what, if you're looking into the springtime right now, as spring is right upon us, in a couple days it's going to switch over. You're looking for a new vehicle to buy, in a 4Runner or a Tacoma or something of this Toyota year platform. Definitely do your homework, and whatever your vision is. If it's just, I want something that's good, reliable as a daily driver, I don't care about anything, the most I would do is put some better tires on it. This is definitely perfect. less questions. But also look at if you want to lift this or do a lot of stuff to a 4Runner or Tacoma, make it an overland build or just kind of make it a truck build or something like that. Definitely look into all the aftermarket stuff that is there, websites, all that. Look into the stuff that you're going to try to do and see if that budget is really worth it. Because I wouldn't want to be the person to buy something and then kind of get stuck with, well, it costs me too much money, I don't have the money right now. Then if you're daily driving it, or you're just kind of, I just need it now type, spend the money and then don't have any money. So I've definitely learned that lesson as I gotten older. But yeah, I'll leave you with my thoughts. So hopefully this video helps you out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely stop by for more on the channel. Videos and new stuff will be coming for the Mustang as well. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.